This is The Win, Special Edition Raw, where I share my personal stories of failures and successes as a serial entrepreneur. My views on how to start and grow a business using today's top online marketing and sales strategies. So welcome to The Win, Raw, with me, your host, Heather Havenwood. Are you over 45, 60? Are you relying on the traditional medical field to help you feel great and get you back to a balanced body? Good luck with that. At e2lab.com, Dr. Don Salio got sick of people complaining about bloating, inflammation, and feeling sluggish. He has created unique, potent, and powerful non-pharmaceutical supplements to help the body rebalance, detox, and get back to being healthy. Go to e2lab.com, getting you back to healthy and balanced. Hey everyone, welcome to The Win with Heather Havenwood. Happy Monday. This is Raw. Wow, been a crazy week in the world, hasn't it? It's January 30th. We are now the first month into 2017. It has been a roller coaster, I'm sure, even if you hold your nose and close your eyes and don't look at politics. It's been quite a crazy ride, right? So it's not a political show, but I definitely want to acknowledge that it's been a little nutty out there, which the cool thing is today, Donald Trump actually met with small business owners. I thought it was a very interesting conversation. He had a short little, he let the media in and talked a little bit about how major that the small business in America today is a part of our economy. And he defined it as small business owners, anybody that has 500 or less employees. Now, I'm one of those. I don't even have an employee. I have freelancers. I have 4 or 5 freelancers. So I'm definitely in the small business arena. And my fiance has a chiropractic office. We have a couple employees there. So we were definitely in the small business arena. He had these numbers that were quite amazing of how many millions of dollars every year is created from small business. And the number was huge, way bigger than even what you thought in the Fortune 500 companies. So he's really focused on the small business arena. And so what that means for you listeners, the Raw, is that it is time to grow. It is time to expand, which is really cool. So, all right, what I'm going to talk about today, believe it or not, is what is a sexy boss. Now, I'm going to explain to you what that is. Before we get started, I'm going to shout out to one of our sponsors and go to heathermakesyoumoney.com. Look, if you don't have a marketing funnel, what I call a marketing slide, when someone comes to your website or calls you or whatnot, there's what I call a slide into being your prospect, right? From prospect to customer. So what happens is a lot of times business owners have a site, what I call a brochure site, right? Where it's asking the person to make a big investment, like make a phone call, right? What we want to do is what I call have the potential prospect make mini commitments. Maybe give them an email, maybe give us their first name, mini commitments, maybe make a $7 purchase, right? Those are what I call mini commitments. That's what I call a marketing funnel. So I'm working with ClickFunnels, and they are doing phenomenal things for my listeners. So go check out heathermakesyoumoney.com. They are literally giving you free templates set up. You don't have to even have a web designer, guys. This is so simple. You can have a marketing funnel in like 1 hour or less, and they give you 30 days for free. Okay, so go check it out at heathermakesyoumoney.com. Okay, let's talk about sexy boss. If you've been under a rock, you don't know who I am. My name is Heather Havenwood. I have a book out called Sexy Boss, How the Empowerment of Women is Changing the Rulebook for Money, Success, and Sex, and Beating the Big Boys. All right, what is sexy boss? I get this question a ton. If you ever heard me on interviews, you probably heard me talk about this, but I think it's really important, men and ladies. People get so freaked out of this, especially right now what's going on with the political scene. With the Women's March that happened, there was 2 women marches actually. The big one that happened the day after that President-elect, or now President Donald Trump, was put in office. Look, Women, I mean, I have to say, I am pro women and pro empowering women, but I was embarrassed by a lot of the stuff that happened on that Saturday. Truly embarrassed for the rhetoric, the negativity, the god awful whatever, Madonna was saying, and whatever Ashley Judd was. I was truly embarrassed. And I have to say, I'm all for women empowerment. I love Madonna, actually one of my biggest fans. Not a fan of what she did. Not a fan of what's going on with the Hollywood. I'm not a fan with it has to be in California. You have to be on the anti-Trump movement. I'm not a fan. I don't know why the women who are on the left are so loud and the women on the right are not. They're not loud. We can be just as loud. And I think it's an interesting perspective. And so I want to bring up what I mean by sexy boss. Let me explain to you what that means. So first off, the word sexy and boss together combined upset you, please turn it off. If it doesn't, then keep tuned in. Let's talk about it. Okay. First of all, it's trademarked, so FYI, Sexy Boss. You can go check out the website, sexybossinc.com, which is my book. You can opt in. You get 3 free chapters of my audiobook of Sexy Boss. All right, what is it about? First of all, let me take you back, okay? There is a chapter in the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And that chapter is about sex transmutation. Sex transmutation literally is the understanding of transmuting one's sexual energy into life. No kidding. Into life, into creation, into their work. Okay. Now, this book was written in the 30s, so Napoleon Hill was really talking about men specifically, wasn't talking about women. But I'm here to discuss the other side of that. Sex transmutation from a man's perspective is the art of yin and yang, is the art of what I call moving his sexual energy into creation and being able to take that creation into the world as his projects, his building something, creating something, building a business, providing for his family. Talked about that a man's sexual transmutation, his transmutation of his sexual energy, its one desire is to please the woman. Okay. So that is what I call the old school view. And that's still true to this day. And it's kind of got warped with a lot of the stuff in society today. It's still very true. A male energy is actually, its ultimate desire is to please a woman. And he talked about that most men, this Napoleon Hill, Think or Rich, please read it, that talks about that most men will not become successful until they're 40 or older. Now, here's why. A lot of that has to do with men in their focus and what I call desire to spread their seed, right? All over the place. And the moment a man can, what I call, tune into his feminine energy, the other side of him, as well as his mate, then he's able to actually move into higher creation energy. It's in that he actually can go outside of himself and start to really tap into higher self, higher spirit, and start creating. And he talks about this. Napoleon Hill, Think or Rich, Napoleon Hill. This is not even me. You can read the chapter yourself. Okay, so women, let's talk about your side. Okay, first of all, hold on for a second, going to that. The failure of sex transmutation. The failure of sex transmutation he talks about is what we call today cheating on your spouse, okay? What he talked about is a lot of, and he went all the way back to generational, of kings that were very powerful. And then the moment that they, what I call, started cheating, right, on their spouse, what I meant by that is like spreading their seed everywhere, they started to lose power. And things started to happen. Some of they actually got overcome in their kingdom. Sometimes they went through 2 wars and they got defeated. Defeat happened. Here's why: they had a loss of power. All right. So understand that. Women are sexual transmutation. Sexual transmutation in a female is the same thing. We are feminine, as well as tapping into our masculine and balancing that out between feminine and masculinity. Not going all male and not going all female, but actually balancing that in within ourselves so that when we are with our mate, right? That they actually balance us. This is an important piece I want you to understand of what I call being a sexy boss. Sexy boss is a way of being joyful, being happy, being passionate, being hopeful, being contentment, being bored, whatever. It is a way of being. Being a sexy boss is literally like what I call, put my sexy boss hat on. Sexy boss is two aspects. The sexy part is the sex transmutation of taking our energy as a feminine and transmuting that into our creation. We are creators. We're the ones that create the babies, okay? Ultimately. Taking that energy, sexual energy, and creating something, creating a business, creating a home, nesting, creating a relationship, creating relationships, creating conversation. We are literally the creators of the universe. And we have the ability to think, say something, and then actually create it in reality. Right? We actually have it stronger than men do just because we have the parts called making a baby. Okay. So on an energy, we actually have that. I want you to start tapping into that creation of yourself. When you think of something, you have an idea and it comes from higher self. You're like, I want to put that into reality. I think that's one of the things I have as a gift of mine is I'm able to say, here's an idea. How do we put it into reality? Right? Moving it from idea to reality is what I call the sex transmutation process, right? So women, we have an ultimate desire to be supported and loved and to give. Sometimes we overgive. We know that. But that's what I call inspires us, right? Men want to please the woman, right? And we want to give to the masculine energy. So that's where that comes from. And I hope that you didn't just like go off the handle and go, what? That's the sexual transmutation process, the sexy part, right? That's where we as women own who we are, that we are creators, that we are givers, and owning it, like really owning it to a level of confidence. Okay. The boss piece is being responsible that we are creators, being responsible that we are the boss of our lives, that we are the ones that get to say how our life goes, and acknowledging our feminine energy and acknowledging other people's, your mate's masculine energy. Again, we're talking male-female relationships. I'm not going to go into same-sex relationships. That's not what this conversation is about. Okay. I'm explaining the sexual energy, yin and yang. You ever seen the yin and yang? If not, type into Google, you'll see a black and white, like a yin and yang. That is the ultimate balance of male and masculine and feminine energy. Being a sexy boss for me was my way of balancing out my masculine energy. So at a young age, because of things happen, I did what I call a big FU to the world. And the way I dealt with that is I went heavy masculine, right? I powered through everything in life, powered through business, powered through life, powered through relationships, because that's what kept me safe. And I knew that energy because I saw men around me with that same kind of energy, and that's how they dealt with life. So I emulated that. As after the bankruptcy, I started to really realize that my feminine part of myself had been smushed, rejected, pushed down, not allowed up, because it scared me. The feminine energy really scared me. And now I realize it's my biggest strength, is tapping into that feminine energy, tapping into that creation, tapping into that ability to literally think of something, have an idea, and create it into reality. I mean, that really is what this is all about. So that's where Sexy Boss came from. Now, as a friend of mine, Joe Sugarman, who actually spoke it, he's like, wow, you're like a sexy boss. Boom. I'm like, that's it. I really realized it's not just a statement, it's a way of being. And when women can actually ultimately own both their feminine and masculine energy and balance those out within themselves, right, which emulates into the world, then they can be truly the boss of their life. Boss is a word of being responsible. When we're really responsible for all areas of our life, wellness, financial, relationships, our own self-view, our self-love, right? Our own mental, our spiritual. When we're responsible for all areas of our life, then at that moment, we can actually really successfully expand. Truly. And I do believe, I I do believe Napoleon Hill when he said that most men, he used the words men really don't become successful until they're 40. And the reason that is, it's almost like a wisdom thing. They've gone through life and they know now how to honor themselves, balance their energy, and really create with true wisdom. So hope you got all that. That's what being a sexy boss is. And I tell guys all the time, you're a sexy boss stud. When a man can really own both parts of them, the masculine and feminine energy, they can really own that. They don't have to be all man, right? There's a power there. They can be compassionate with themselves. They can be compassionate with other people. They can understand. They can listen, right? They can see a different view. They can acknowledge the women in their life. That is a very feminine part of the masculinity that's very attractive, right? And it's also a success principle. So I just want you to take all this in, that being a sexy boss is really a way of being. Being a sexy boss is a way of being. And so I just encourage you today in your life, where in your life can you be a sexy boss? Before you walk into that meeting, just say, who I am is a sexy boss. And just like notice the energy alteration before you walk into the gym, right? I'm about to go bust it out on CrossFit or whatever. Who I am as a sexy boss. You'll notice an energy shift. Do some tapping. I'm actually really into tapping right now. I'm learning how to tap correctly and do this tapping. Maybe I can do an episode on that. But I actually am enjoying that process as well. So I just want to leave this with you is that, being a sexy boss is a way of being. Being a sexy boss is the opportunity for you to start thinking of ideas and not waiting for someone else to put them to fruition, but you are the creator. You are the one that's going to birth the idea into reality. And then it's going to be you that's going to nurture that idea into growth, into a business, into whatever, right? It could be a business, could be a nonprofit, could be an idea. But literally think of your idea like the birthing process, right? It's an incubator for 9 months, and then it literally gets birthed, which is usually not it's usually kind of a painful process sometimes, right? And then it starts the nurturing and allowing the idea, the business, whatever, to grow. What happens is we have an idea and we want it to pop out the next day and boom, that's not how it goes. I mean, look at life, right? So I just want you to understand there is a place for incubation. There's a time for birthing. We call that launch in the marketing world. And then there's a time for nurturing. Okay, so just keep all that in mind today while you're moving through your life, while you're moving through your business, while you're moving through your conversations with your kids, with your business partners, with your relationships, with your friends, your colleagues. Am I being a sexy boss right now? Am I owning all areas in my life? Where can I own something? Where am I pushing down my sexuality? Right? And a man, we call that charismatic. When a man's very dapper and owns his sexuality, we call that charismatic. George Clooney, right? He owns that part of him. 007, we find him very attractive and sexy. Brad Pitt at one point, very attractive and sexy, charismatic guy. A woman, we say, oh, well, she has sexiness. She needs to push that down. Or if she's sexy, then she's not smarter. I say, no, BS. Being a sexy boss is being smart. It's intelligent. It's being a creator. It's being an owner of all your life and owning you're a woman, right? Right. So I just really want to acknowledge the sexy boss in you and ask yourself, where can I be a sexy boss in my life today? Where can I own that piece of me? Just really walk with confidence. Pull your shoulders back, smile, and just say, who I am is a sexy boss. And you guys, listen up. Who you are is a sexy boss stud. Say, I am a stud. If that makes you feel like I'm a stud. Sexy boss is equivalent to stud in the stud world. If I say to a man, you're a stud, he's like, oh, I mean, you could just see it. And like, oh, thanks. But I say a woman, you're a sexy boss, they get all weird about it. What does that mean? We want to hear beautiful, but really a stud is a person that owns who they are. A stud does not have to be the aggressor. A stud could just like be walking a room. You're like, wow, who's that guy? Charismatic. So in the woman's world, I'm giving a word to being a stud in the female perspective. So I want you to be high, powerful women. My job is to empower you, women. My job is to really place that empowerment in you so you can start birthing and creating and nurturing your own ideas. All right. And I'm going to leave you with this. I was at an event last week, actually. It's called I Am Empowered Woman. It's a new organization here in Austin, Texas, which I'm proud to be a member. I think I was the first member to sign up because I didn't wait for them to do their pitch. I just signed up and gave them the piece of paper. And the owners, Jeanette and Misty, were like, what? Oh my God. So I think I was the first one to say yes. And the part of that yes was yes to the future, and yes to empower women. I'm yes to people empowering me. Yes to giving and receiving in the world of empowerment, right? So there was something interesting that happened that night. She was passing the mic around, Jeanette, and a woman stood up. I don't know her name. I don't remember any of that. I just remember her story, right? Because people remember stories, don't remember the names. And she took the mic and Jeanette asked her, why is she here tonight? What inspired her? And her response was, well, I've been an accountant for X amount of years and I've worked on, and she had a number 300, something ridiculous, 200, 300 different companies' books over the years. And then she said, out of all those companies, only 5% out of all the companies I've ever worked on were owned by women. They are all owned by men. However, all the ones that I worked on that were successful, owned by men, they had an entire team of women behind him. And she said, I want that to stop today. It's time women are the owners. Wow. And I got chills. I looked around and the women were just smiling because we know that behind every great successful man, there's not one woman, there's 100. You know what I mean? And I can't tell you how many times I see that with men who are successful. And if you look at who their team is, who's really running the show, all the details in the background, it's a team of women. And I say, that's fine. That's great. I say more power to him. But now's the time to reverse that. Now's the time to have women empowering women, And I just really encourage you to take that on today. Where can I empower myself? Where can I empower another woman? But also more importantly, where can I step up and be a sexy boss today? All right. This is Heather Havenwood. Check out e2lab.com. Like I said, right now I'm in the middle of a cleanse. I'm using RAWHH11, which is part of the e2lab.com product line. It's a 30-day program. I take a drop in the morning and a drop at night before breakfast and before dinner. And what it does, it basically takes your fat and says, hey, fat, you can release now. It's a metabolic boost. It basically is increasing your metabolic program. Remember when you were 10 years old, you could eat anything and you just had this huge metabolic rate. That's what this does. You'll do it for 30 days, twice a day. And it jams up your metabolic rate. You'll be actually hungrier. But what you do is keep what you're eating the same, and you just boost it and it burns the fat, which is super awesome. That's called RAWHH11. Go check it out at e2lab.com. All right, everyone, this is Heather Havenwood. Please check me out at heatherhavenwood.com. And hey, tweet to me. I'm a huge conversationalist on Twitter at @HHavenwood. Havenwood. I'm the only Heather Havenwood, or Facebook. I also am big on that as well. All right, everyone, this is Heather Havenwood. Check me out at The Win. Are you a business owner that has a website but not tech savvy? Do you feel like a hostage to your web guy? The better question is, do you have a money funnel so people come to your page and give you money while you sleep? No? Then go watch free video at heathermakesyoumoney.com. Imagine having a money site, not a website, for your self-published book, e-commerce products, local practitioners like chiropractors or lawyers. Get a money site, not a website. Go watch free video at heathermakesyoumoney.com. Have you wanted to stop swapping your time for money? Ever wanted to leverage your expertise by selling your knowledge to hundreds of people? I call that smart. And now you can easily and effortlessly, without a web guy, create memberships, online courses, coaching programs. Go to heatherhavenwood.com Thinkific. Start making money off what you know today. Go to heatherhavenwood.com/Thinkific.